A brand new Uzumaki is soon coming to Boruto, and the twist is that we have already seen him. The infamous red hair, the affinity to take on enormous chakra, and the ability to use broken techniques. The character who matches the criteria of being an Uzumaki is none other than Code. Well, that's what they call him. He could have a different birth name, and Code may just be an alias that signifies his role in the story. It's to be the programming code of multiple characters. We will soon dive into what this means, but first take a look at this. Both Boruto and Code have got a scar on the opposite eyes, and while you may think it's just an artistic choice, I think there is a really huge symbolism buried inside. The way they both were portrayed during the Shinju awakening kinda teases them working together in the future, but since a single panel is not enough to make judgment on a character's future, here are some more hints that I believe are indicating Boruto and Code's fateful alliance. But before we dive into them, please consider subscribing to never miss anything from my side. The clash between Boruto and Kawaki was more of an ego fight than anything else. Kawaki's arrogance escalated once he got his hands on the most powerful weapon to ever exist. I'm talking about the Tech Karma seal. It made him feel superior to Boruto as well as Code, the only two people whom he wants to annihilate. But this did not last long, as Boruto returned to Konoha a lot stronger than before, making Kawaki seem like a little cat to him. But one thing to be noted is that we saw the truly arrogant face of Kawaki before time skip, and ever since the omnipotent switch up happened, a lot of things have changed for the Karma duo. For example, Kawaki was the main highlight of part 1, and right now Boruto is carrying the show. Furthermore, the red Karma wielder appeared to be the absolute beast in part 1, but in 2 Blue Vortex, Boruto has taken the title of the most formidable character. The reason I didn't use the word shinobi here is because Kawaki does not consider himself as a ninja, and he has shown his resentment to the system a lot of times. This ill feeling would soon evolve into the end of the shinobi world, but among this fallout between the red and blue Karma users, we shouldn't forget the third wielder of this power, who uses the white Karma. The switcheroo seems to have made Boruto a bit egoistic, as is totally evident in his speech from the second chapter. The quality that Kawaki was once famous for is now possessed by Boruto, and this may be an aftermath of omnipotence too. He asked Code to help him out, and any form of refusal would lead to his death, since killing him was a piece of cake. You can also say it wasn't arrogance but confidence, since Boruto has too much trust in his capabilities. The only difference in Boruto's confidence in comparison to Kawaki would be that he had a foundation to believe in himself. Kawaki, on the other hand, created baseless goals after getting the weaponized Karma, like killing every living Otsutsuki with their own powers, yet he succumbed to the attacks of a humanoid Ten-Tails. Either way, if Boruto was being so mean to Code, how come would they both form an alliance in the future? Well, firstly, the reason I believe Code may be forming an alliance with Boruto comes from his tendency to ask for his help. When Boruto got trapped by the Shinjus in chapter 5, he asked Code to help him out, but the clown escaped, as the death of his blue counterpart meant his stress would be lessened. He won't have to worry about Boruto again using the Uzuhiko to kill him, and he could simply wait for the time when either of the Karma wielders would get devoured, which would cultivate a chakra fruit on the planet. Hypothetically speaking, even if this happens, Code may not be able to snatch the fruit from Jura. But what if I told you he potentially could? The bodies of the Shinjus are made from the claw marks, so technically Code should have been able to come out of them and make a move. You could say the human chakra made it impossible for such thing to happen. However, Jura, being the manifestation of a Ten-Tails fused with claw marks, leaves the door open for Code to appear out of his body. Even if that's impossible, the cube found at Shinju hideout must be accessible to Code, since Hidari was shown to teleport there through the claw marks. This leaves us with the possibility of an unexpected emergence of the white Karma wielder. But how does it indicate his alliance with Boruto? It's not like bloodthirsty enemies would become friends out of nowhere. Well, the reason may not be so lame and simple, but could lie more on the character development side. The scar analogy may be foreshadowing what's about to happen next, and Code sharing a similarity with the Uzumaki clan members also hints at a major role that he's going to play. But before understanding his connection to the lost clan, let's first comprehend how Boruto sees him. He has already made a blunt statement about Code by saying it's really easy to destroy him, and he by no means was lying, with the events of chapter 12 acting as a proof to this. The Limitless Rasengan can annihilate anybody in about a minute, and Code is no exception. By the way, if you wanna know how I came up with the number for Uzuhiko's charging time, check out this video later to find out. Coming back to Boruto, he was confident in his ability to kill Code, and that's how he threatened him to get the location of the Ten-Tails. But the main motive was to get Code to his side, cause he needed some help in stabilizing catching the Ten-Tails situation. Now the question arises, what type of help could he be seeking? He wanted Code to take him to the Ten-Tails dimension, but there was nothing much he did after reaching there, since the Shinjus were already born. But what would have happened if he had reached there on time? Could it be that he would have used Code in some way to prevent the Shinju situation? The reason I believe this may actually be the case is because of the Shinjutsu that was originally possessed by a deity used by Code to create the grinds. The claw marks have contributed to the birth of Shinjus, and by looking at how Code resurrected the bodies of claw grinds, it's very likely that he could have manipulated the claw marks that were wrapped around the Ten-Tails to free the beast. But unfortunately, Boruto arrived late, and that's how the new mega villains of the story were formed. So Code could have played a role here to stop the situation from going worse. And there was another chance of his redemption that he refused to take. It was when Boruto asked for his help, but believing he's gonna die, Code escaped without a trace. Now you could ask me, if he refused to help Boruto, how come would both of them work together in the future? Let's get back to chapter 5, where Masuri gives Code a reality check about his destiny and how he gets used like a clown by others. At first I thought they may have some power to read people's fate, but it seems like the claw marks that they are made of also have the data of Code's life. This is how the Shinju was able to tell him how he gets used by others like a clown. The thing that could make Code the good guy sometime down the lane is the realization of how messed his life has been. First he got modified by Kara, then he became obsessed with Ishiki, which more or less made him his puppet. Further, Kawaki literally took away everything that he found there, whether it was becoming the vessel of Ishiki or the love of his life either. One thing to be noted is that since Code was affected by omnipotence, it's pretty much obvious he was eluded by Aida's charm. He did not actually love her, but that's not something which would have made a difference in his actions. So what if he would decide to let go of his past and do what's logically right? By forming an alliance with Boruto, he could repair his image which has been reduced to a clown. The same chapter where Masuri gave him a reality check, Kawaki raised the possibility of Boruto and Code working together. Now this may be a foreshadowing for what's about to come, as the white karma of Code is a really mysterious tool and could come handy to the plot somehow. It would be a really difficult situation for Kawaki if both of his arch enemies team up, but looking at how he was able to become the destroyer of shinobis even after all these possibilities, something big has definitely went down before the destruction of Konoha. It could have something to do with the special powers of Code, as there are a lot of mysterious elements hidden within his character. For example, he didn't have this claw mark on his head when he was a child, which is most likely the limiter to his power. But at the same time, his hair was not white, meaning that he still had a limiter on. So is the claw mark actually a limiter or just an aesthetic? We will dive down the iceberg of Code's power-ups. But before that, let's understand how he may actually be an Uzumaki, which enhances the possibility of his alliance with Boruto. First and foremost, it's evident in his appearance, as Uzumakis usually have distinctive red hair. Further, he was able to take the pressure off Ishiki's karma seal, and surprisingly, his karma turned white, a phenomenon that is unique to only his karma, and this hindered him from using Ishiki's abilities or to act as a vessel to him. The Uzumaki clan is renowned for their extraordinary strong life force, which grants them remarkable longevity and the affinity to become a tail beast Jinchuriki. The pressure of the karma experiment must be similar to the Jinchuriki ritual, which yet again hints at Code being a member of this clan. His Uzumaki genes could have made him bear the karma seal, which is why it turned white. Now you could ask, if Code's karma turned white after coming in touch with Uzumaki DNA, the same should have happened to Boruto as well. Well, a simple explanation would be, Boruto is 1/4 of an Uzumaki, while Code seems to be a pure one, which is why he reacted differently with an Otsutsuki's karma. The transformation of Code's hair from red to white is similar to Nagato Uzumaki, the only difference being Nagato got weakened with his white hair, while Code received a massive power-up after his hair color changed. But what if this resemblance to Nagato's hair is actually teasing something for the future of Code? He could actually have another form waiting for him that will again turn his hair to orange, and to explain why I think so, we will need to go back to the beginning, when Code as a child was shown with the white karma. I think the true power of Limitless Code will unlock after the claw mark on his head is removed, and there are plenty of reasons for this to be the case. The story has made it clear that Kawaki and Code both went under experimentation for Ishiki's karma seal, but one of them ended up as a failed vessel, which led to him inheriting a powerless karma. Code as a child is shown to be really aggressive and did not have the claw mark on his forehead yet. Later it was revealed that his infamous claw marks are a shinjutsu, but Amado did not specify this much, like whether it was inherited from Shibai or some other Otsutsuki. Either way, when he was shown as a child fighting against Kawaki out of resentment, he neither had had the claw marks nor the white hair, but Jigen feared his power so much that he ordered Amado to implant a limiter on him. And when the scientist mentions Code with limiters on, he is depicted with the claw marks. So a few things are clear by now. The white karma was there from the beginning, and he was a lot more aggressive as a child. This could be the time when the limiters were implanted on him, raising the possibility of the claw marks being the Shinjutsu, which limits his power. Even though it's a pure hypothesis, it makes sense because the white karma was supposed to grant him Ishiki's power, but the Shinjutsu seems to belong to another Otsutsuki, as Ishiki never used this power. So did Amado implant the claw marks in Code to refrain him from tapping into his true power? Code, as a child who was feared by Jigen himself, was confident to kill Kawaki by his bare hands. The point to be noted is that Kawaki possessed the power of Ishiki, so unless Code was exaggerating, it shouldn't have been possible for him to kill the true vessel with his bare hands. This could have been the moment when they decided to limit his power with another Shinjutsu, known as the claw marks. Now this is where things get interesting. Amado awakened the supposedly limitless form of Code by using the encrypted message, "There is no dress code." Now after this character had tapped into his limitless form, something that was feared by everyone, surprisingly he got violated by not just Daemon but even a nerfed Sasuke, who managed to destroy one of his eyes. So you are telling me Code without limiters, who is said to be stronger than Jigen, struggled again as Sharingan-less Sasuke and wasn't even able to save his eye? This doesn't make sense at all. Jigen was able to completely violate Sasuke in a 1v2, meaning that limitless Code should have been able to easily deal with him. But surprisingly, he faced yet another massive L, which only indicates that he hasn't unlocked his true power yet. There must be an even stronger form of Code, maybe the one without claw marks, that was shown to us in the flashback sequence. This means Amado used his secret message to unlock a dummy form for Code that only enhanced his aesthetics and not his powers. Even the encrypted message itself, which says there is no dress code, is a bit fishy. Amado used the code Time to Sleep Delta to shut down the clone of RKB, which is a direct reference to his relationship with his daughter. There is no dress code sounds like something that would be used as an aesthetic update to someone, and that's what happened to Code. As I said in the beginning, I don't think Code was his real name. He could have Uzumaki as his last name, and maybe nobody knows his real name. That's why he was called just Code. In a nutshell, there may be a final form of this character that Kishimoto may be planning to unveil sometime in the future. There are even crazier theories like Momoshiki using Uzuhiko or Boruto unlocking never before seen powers, and you can check them out in these videos. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.